So I'm going to talk about three of my adventures, just briefly. Kendall College, which after 75 years, I picked up one day from Evanston and moved downtown, much to the chagrin of my neighbors. Some of my neighbors, the other ones were like, thank God that garbage is gone. But Kendall had been around for 75 years and was failing. So Kendall was a turnaround. It was something that I had about 90 days to sell it or save it or shut it down, and so it was a pretty astonishing thing. Flashpoint was an adventure of creating a completely new business, a completely new school, which was a 2-year high-end vocational college about media and digital everything as the whole world migrates from analog to digital. It was pretty timely. And in 1871 is about growing. We've been around for 2 years. We've done pretty well. We've had 40 or 50 companies graduate. They've raised 30 or 40 million dollars, and they've created about 1,000 jobs now, and they have revenues about $20 million. So it's a pretty good thing for 14 months to start that process. But it's a moving target, and you have to constantly raise the bar if you want to lead in terms of innovation. Like I said, Kendall was around for about 75 years in Evanston. And you know, when I got there, people were sort of frantic. We had all kinds of different, issues and problems. Everybody wanted to leave, except they had no better place to go. There was no morale issues, conflict. Everybody was sort of standing still and doing things, like rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. This says, it's a little hard to read, but it says we do have enough food, because it was a culinary school, so we do have enough food and water to last for a while until things turn around. But at the same time, the culture was, well, what if it works well? What if it doesn't work? What if it's Wednesday? It was a very sort of frightening thing. And then you had this other thing going on, which was people, when I got there, said, we need new marketing materials. And so I said, well, that's like lipstick on a pig, right? Because why would you want more people to come to a school that sucks? Like, let's fix the school first, and then we'll get really good marketing materials, okay? So when we looked to move the school, we found this building, and the good news is it didn't have a pool. Other than that, it was a pretty challenging thing. So we basically spent, it was about 170,000 square feet. It was about $60 million. We had about 90 days to do it. And today I'm proud to say it's very, very successful. But there were a few things that were really important when you go through this process. And by the way, turning around a whole school is no different than making the people you work with change and do better and things like that. So the people who weren't engaged, we had to get them out of the way. We couldn't be looking backwards, because if you look backwards, it's basically the way you're headed. So we were building for the future. Everybody had to sign up and be accountable. This is really important. And you have to focus. You can't be all things to all people. You can't do everything. You have to find a few things and do those really aggressively well. And so we also had a board of trustees, and it's a sensitive subject, I'm sure. So although they were apparently in agreement, from time to time we suspected that maybe they weren't like fully behind us. So it's the old Jonathan Winters, launching the Army guy saying, I'll be watching you through long-range classes, and I wish you the best. But anyway, so a couple of things to understand. If you're going to undertake this process of change, you need to appreciate the fact that although people agree with you, that's not enough. And you need to ask people to change their behavior. It's not enough to apologize. It's not enough to say, I'm sorry. And this is all part of this process of honesty and sort of insistence that this is important and there's a right way to do these things. And you have to sort of be willing to do that. So when you face these situations, whether it's with an existing organization or one that's in the last of its life, or it's at the beginning of its entire life, it's always the same. It's like you need to have people understand the situation that you're in. You need to fix some things quickly so you show some progress. Sometimes you need to be making changes and taking positions that might not be perfect, but at least they're clear, and that's a benefit in these times where everybody is anxious and concerned. There's always a big couple of problems. If you tackle those first, it's a very, very good strategy. And you need a vision. You really need to say to people, if you come along with me, here's where we're going to end up. It may it's always important to understand that you need a clear view, but you shouldn't mistake that for a short distance, because this stuff does not happen overnight. To give you an idea, in the first 30 days, we sold the campus. We bought this new campus. We borrowed $60 million together, got the city to rezone the property, and started building, and moved in about 98 days. So that was Kendall. This is Flashpoint. Flashpoint arose from a very simple set of conversations. I could not go to any social gathering without a group of various parents saying to me, my kid, and it was never their kid actually, it was always their nephew, the kid next door, it was always some representative avatar of the problem. But there was some kid in the basement who only wanted to play video games or hated school or whatever. And then I would go to business meetings and everyone would say, we can't find digital Marines, we can't find people that understand cyber technologies. And so we built a school to basically teach just those disciplines. 2 years at a job, high-end, affordable, and shocking, because as opposed to going to a school that you can't stand for 4 years, this was a pretty good solution. We're going to see more and more of this. The mayor is trying to redo the community colleges and the city colleges to try and focus on vocational trainings and have them focus on specific disciplines. That's a big challenge, but you know, we're already seeing some improvement. The graduation rate is doubled. It's easy to do when you start at 8%, but it is 16 or 17% now. And directionally, it's the kind of thing that we have to do, because we spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on that system, and if we're not going to blow it up, then we have to make it better. So Flashpoint was another one of these things where, in a very succinct fashion, and let me tell you that anything you set out to do, rule number one is to tell a simple story. Who are we? What are we doing? Where are we going? And why? And if you can't do that in a few words, then you basically don't understand what it takes to get this kind of stuff done. So our first goal was hard work, just as you heard, and we imbued that into everything we do. Not sort of strokes. We told them, because their parents told them that 100% of them were the greatest filmmakers ever. We told them that we were actually going to operate more like their first employer. And so we said, well, save the strokes for your folks and we'll tell you the truth. And so that was important. It was important because we didn't want to fool them and send them out in the real world thinking they could do things that they couldn't do. So number one was work. Number two was basically excellence. And let me explain this, because if you're in the music business or the film business or the game business, all of which I've been in for many, many years, you understand that nobody knows what makes a winning movie, nobody knows what makes a song that's going to sell, go platinum. But what you do know is not success, but you do know excellence. You do know that the way you went about doing what you set out to do is something that you internally know, whether you put your heart and soul into it, whether you did the best job that you could that day and each day. And then you can go home and you can say, look, I don't know if the movie is going to be fabulous economically, but I know I did the absolute best job that I could do. And I did it as well as anyone could do it, and I did it that way each and every day. And so that was our focus. It was on craft. It was on the idea that there is a way to do it. And then lastly, as I said before, there is a team that needs to do it. Nobody does anything successfully today by themselves. And so the idea that you as a leader, as a manager, bring together a team and inspire them, but also work hand in hand with them is very, very critical in terms of how to do this. We probably 40 years ago, I started a business that was soon, it's 40 years old now, so it's been around for a while. It seems to still be working. And it was designed to change the insurance industry to use real information rather than statistical information or published information. And we did that by having a field force of hundreds and hundreds of employees, and they would go out and they would inventory vehicles on car lots, 6,000 car lots, every single day. And the entire business, as fancy as it became, a multi-million-dollar business and a public company for 20 or 30 years with thousands of employees, as popular and as extensive as it became, it always still depended on that person in the car dealership at 20 below zero on the outside lot, scraping with the scraper the ice off of the windshield so he could see what the mileage was. And so we needed to convince them that there are no bad jobs. There are no routine jobs. There are no jobs that you can phone in, because every job can be made creative, it can be made important, and businesses depend on those. And so everybody who's a caregiver here, from the lowest level person to the highest level person, is part of that same equation. And that was really important, to take pride in whatever you did, and whatever ability you had to control the circumstances. It didn't really matter. You know, I always tell the story of my waitress at the bagel, whose name is Brenda. If anybody frequents the bagel, you would know Brenda. And I know that she can't set the prices, and I know that she can't control the portions, but she does control the label, and somehow she always makes sure that I get just a little more mashed potatoes or whatever it is. And I know that that's because she cares, and she's doing what she can do to do the best job that she can. She also won't let anybody make her day bad. I don't know how she does it, but she takes enough time, and she's enthusiastic every single day, every single time. And so here again, you know, any job can be made boring, or any job can be made terrific and make a contribution. It's all up to you to sort of set the stage for that kind of behavior. And then lastly, 1871. So as I said, it's a big place. There's a lot of people. We do an astonishing amount of education. 400 events, 250 workshops, 5,000 hours of one-on-one mentoring from experienced entrepreneurs who work with our startups. 5,000 hours. This is part of my strategy, that I'd rather have a surgeon who's done 100 operations than one who's watched 1,000 operations. So having the people that have done it and been there are the exact people that you want to work with your companies as they're setting out to do this. Again, results, but also not about making money, but making a difference. A really significant thing. If your dream is to make money, you're not really going to go anywhere. It has to be about something that's bigger than yourself and that's more important as well. And then we have this idea of responsibility and accountability. We say basically that you need to progress. This is not the JCC for entrepreneurs. This is not the Tech Treehouse. This is a place where we have finite resources and you need to be growing and expanding. And so we built with Accenture a whole process, and it has metrics, and it has measurements, and it has periods of assessment to make sure that our businesses are grounded in reality and they understand that there are opportunity costs. And opportunity costs are a double-edged sword. Sometimes, frankly, their business isn't a good business. And so we need to tell them that as well. And as I mentioned here too, teamwork and collaboration, critical to the success. And then this belief that things can and must change and must get better.